was done in Ayurveda. So after this uh, destruction of the historical Ayurvedic documents was done, we have very few evidences to show that we have also have had scientific journals and scientific researches and so on and so. And then, of course, came the British, and after the World War II, it was so that the modern medicine, or the so-called medicine that is practiced these days, that came into force. And once that system of medicine started, of course, the holistic and the natural systems of medicine became unpopular, or you can say the governments stopped promoting them. And mostly it was the Western medicine-based approach that was applied to the society. So this was a blow to the Indian medicine, to Ayurveda, and to all other uh, systems of medicine, also Unani, Siddha, and etc. So yeah, this was a bit about the history. But now the government that we have in India, they are promoting Ayurveda. So that is a good news, because Ayurveda is now also growing around the globe. India is becoming a medical hub because of Ayurveda. And there is also sorry, somebody was calling me. Yeah, so there is also a need for Ayurveda in the times that we are living. So the basic principles of Ayurveda are that we deal with the universe, and the universe is made up of 5 elements. Now, these 5 elements are everywhere. They are not just based in the Indian system, but they are universal. That is, the 5 elements are the earth, water, space, fire, ether. So these 5 elements kind of form the basis, the pillars of the, like as a tables, chairs, like the legs of the table, let's say, like Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. So Vata is the air, Pitta is the fire, and Kapha is the combination of earth and water. So these 5 elements from the nature, they are blended into the uh, human body in the form of Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. These are the biochemical elements, or the life forces. And then all of us are further divided into Vata, Pitta, and Kapha, depending on which life force is dominant in us. So, for example, we also have body types, which we say as a Prakriti, like your own body type. And then we have a Vikruti, that is your imbalance, what is out of balance in you at the moment. So when we look at the seasons, for example, the seasons are also divided into Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. Like summer is Pitta season, winter is Vata season. And also in the lifetimes of an individual, like childhood is Kapha season, your teenage to adulthood is Pitta season, and the old age is Vata in a human body. So based on the predominant dosha, that is Vata, Pitta, and Kapha, we can analyze which of the doshas is out of balance in your body at the moment. So the basic principles of Ayurveda involve the balancing of these 3 doshas, and to see if something goes on or goes out of balance. Some people do these online tests to check which is their dominant body type, or to know which body type are you. And they come with conclusions that, okay, this is Vata, or I'm a Pitta, or something. But the idea is, like, as there is a cell, and a cell has, let's say, electron, proton, and neutron, and that is what makes a very basic cell. So if we remove, let's say, electron from the cell, would the cell survive? No. It's the same with our body cell. So Vata, Pitta, and Kapha are the very basic forming elements of our body. Now, they carry this genetic information that has come to us over the generations from our ancestors. Now, when something goes wrong with the body, or there is a setup of some disease or chronic ailment in the body, it could be genetic. It could also be on the lifestyle that we are living, it could also be stress induced. So this is how the disease classification is done in Ayurveda. Like this is how the imbalance or vikruti comes into place. Now, Ayurveda also talks about very beautifully about the dinacharya and ritucharya. For example, which kind of routine or regime you should have in a day, that is the dinacharya, and ritucharya is which kind of regime you should have in a particular season. Now, dinacharya is, you can relate it to like a circadian rhythm, like how it is said in the modern world. And ritucharya is like a specific regimen for a specific season in a specific geography. Before I jump into that, let me also brief you that what is actually a vata, pitta, and kapha types. So when I talk about vatas, for example, if we say that this particular person is a vata type, they have their own traits. A vata person is very creative. Vatas are, because vata, the word vata, it signifies the nervous system in the body. So vata people are very creative. They are mainly of the, you know, like digital creators, or in the physical body, they are very lean. An example of vata type would be Michael Jackson, for example. Like the way Michael Jackson moves and talks, a normal person won't do that. So, and in a pitta person, pitta people are very clear. They are very sharp, very focused, and very intelligent. So for a pitta person, I think an example would be any prime minister or a great orator, you know, the people who are very brilliant. But all these body types also have their own shortcomings. For example, vata people get a lot of they are very prone to get nervous disorders or depression or anxiety, whereas pitta people are prone to get diseases of the gut, reflux disorders, skin disorders. And whereas kapha people are more on like prone to the, because the word kapha comes from the Sanskrit word kaf. So this kaf is like from the lungs. So the kapha person is very prone to get disorders of the respiratory system, for example. So these are the basic body types, and this was about the basics of Ayurveda. And the Ritucharya and Dinacharya, what I mentioned earlier. So Dinacharya is what kind of schedule I should follow in a certain time of the day. That is according to your own body's intelligence. Because we have something known as Prajnaparada. Prajnaparada means that doing something wrong knowingly. So when I know, for example, that this thing is not correct for me, or if some person knows that he's a smoker and he knows that smoking is not a right thing to do, but still he does that. So this is prajnaparada, doing wrong knowingly. So that is, you are fooling your body's intelligence and inviting problems for yourself. So Ayurveda aims to avoid these kind of prajnaparada, or these kind of things that should not be done knowingly wrong. Because once the body knows that it is wrong and we try to fool our body, that is when the diseases start to develop. And I think we can move now to the next slide. Are there any more questions or no?
Yeah, maybe Bhavna, I could ask you a very quick question.
Sure.
Can you give an example of this kapha type of people and what are their traits?
Kapha, actually, nobody came to my mind, but I could give you a quick story.
Okay.
So, like, there is a there is a lion and an elephant in the forest, and the elephant has had a lunch and is going for a nap. Now, the
Okay.
lion wants to play with the elephant, right? And lion is the king of the jungle. So, elephant has had a nap and he's trying to sleep. whereas the lion wants to play. And he goes and scratches the elephant. Hey, wake up and play with me. The elephant says, go away. Now, after some time again, the lion comes and scratches the elephant a bit more. Wake up. But the elephant this time gets irritated and says, go away. And again, like 10 minutes later, the lion comes back and says, I want to play with you. Now, this time, the elephant gets really angry, stands up, stomps on the lion, and the lion is killed. The elephant at this point looks at the lion and says, oh, my friend, I hurt you. And the elephant feels really sad about it. Now, the point is, the elephant can easily be the king of the jungle. He's very strong, he's intelligent, but he doesn't want to. And then he gets hurt when somebody, even who's doing wrong things to you, gets hurt. So, this is how Kapha people are. They are very intelligent, they are
Okay.
strong, but they kind of live a low profile.
Okay.
It's also in the in the context of students. Like Kapha students are the students who listen to something once in the classroom and they remember it forever in their lifetime.
Okay.
So they have a very strong retention power.
Okay. That
Like
helps to
Ganesha
know.
would be an example, I would say.
Okay. Really, really very interesting traits in Ayurveda. And please go on. Go on. Thank you very much.
Right. So we live in an ecological era. So, and according to Ayurveda, ecology means that it's our connection, like the connection of Atma to Paramatma. So, Ayurveda doesn't talk about just the body. For example, if you go to a modern practitioner, a modern doctor, he would say that if you're able to do your functions properly, as per WHO, you can, that's the definition of health. You are healthy. But as per Ayurveda, your health is a total sum of your social, emotional, psychological, and physical well being. So we take all these parameters into account to give an estimation of how healthy you are. So it's more of a holistic approach we take when we talk about health in Ayurveda. And Ayurvedic Vaidyas are also kind of a connection between the society, like how they connect to the individualism in this modern era. Because in this system or in this modern world, where there is a growing distance between the doctor and the patient, I think Ayurvedic Vaidyas also have a lot of role to play, because I think these days you get the diagnosis and the prescription also online. So this growing distance is what Ayurveda tries to bridge, because in Ayurveda it's more about like a relationship between the patient and the Vaidya. You don't get a prescription right away, just by telling some symptoms. It's that we have to cure the problem from the root. If there is a migraine, for example, or if there is some kind of a body ache, an Ayurvedic physician will not give you some pills to kill the symptom right away. They will go to the root of the problem, that what is causing it, and then cure it from the roots. So that is what I think is the beauty of the science. So as we discussed, that the world is going towards an era where there is a domination of AI, artificial intelligence, and it's also bringing automation and innovation to every aspect of life. Now, how can Ayurveda kind of be blended into this uh, scenario? So Ayurveda, which is the ancient most science, it can be implemented in day-to-day life by following very basic principles. For example, if you have a good, can you change this slide, please? Yeah, so in the modern setup where the treatment is very mechanical, Ayurveda can help by putting some basic rules or basic principles into practice. So in the Nordics, for example, where we live, the Nordic winters, we have very less sunlight, and we have own challenges in this geography. So the Ayurvedic wisdom, it can be used as a very powerful tool to counteract with the effects that are we are facing because of the stress and everything that is developing. One scenario is the pranic diseases. Pranic diseases means the diseases that are coming out of the prana. For example, depression, anxiety in the youth, and insomnia, etc. Now, yoga is the psychological treatment for of Ayurveda. The modern medicine is very good. The techniques are very advanced. We do not have those techniques in Ayurveda. We do not have those instruments in Ayurveda to do the treatment. But Ayurveda is a very comprehensive and behavioral science where we deal with the behaviors. And technology is good. It's good to have a modern technology and advancements, but it's also so that we need to live with the basics. For example, artificial intelligence is gaining grounds, and it is kind of inseparable from the modern day scenario, as is electricity. So there is no point uh, complaining or criticizing technology, but how to include it in our day-to-day lives. Now, can you change the slide, please? Or could I do that? Yeah. So the artificial intelligence has definitely impacted health in a way that the productivity has enhanced. It has given a lot of tools for automation. Uh, AI does a lot of statistical correlations, which a normal human would take a lot of time to do. But then this has also led to the rise of sedentary lifestyles, sleep disorders, and stress-related issues. Now, AI cannot provide therapy to a patient. Of course, AI can give diagnosis, for examples. It's used in hospitals these days to do diagnosis and give precise blood results, for example. But AI cannot read your pulse. AI cannot have those subtle values of like critical thinking. It cannot be a compassionate individual like as a real human being, and it cannot give uh, it cannot be having a responsible decision making power like a real doctor or a real Vaidya will have. So this is where the role of Ayurveda comes into picture. So Ayurveda provides a counterbalance by providing mindfulness, personalized self-care that is very individual for you. That is known as Prakriti, as I said in the beginning. Slide change, please. So as I explained earlier, that Prakriti is your own body type. That is Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. So how can we try to balance these imbalances caused by the use of excess use of technology or AI driven things? So Vata imbalance is caused by overstimulation and irregular routines that is going against the circadian rhythm, not sleeping in the right time, not eating in the right time, because our body follows a clock. So there are certain times of the day when certain things are supposed to be done. For example, in the night, 10 o'clock, one should go to deep sleep, because from 10 o'clock in the night to 2 o'clock in the midnight is the time when the liver does the detox. So liver doesn't just digest the food, it also digests the news, the conversations we have heard in the day. So it's done at a very micro level. But if we are not in a deep sleep at 10 o'clock, then the cycle is passed on to the next day. And in that time, when we are awake, when the body should be deep sleep, we get overactive, thinking that this is the time when, like, I'm getting overproductive, or I'm getting a lot of ideas and everything. But actually, those juices are being secreted so that the liver can digest and detoxify whatever toxins have been accumulated in the body in the daytime. So if one doesn't sleep in that particular time, that entire cycle is shifted by 24 hours. And in this way, the toxins keep on accumulating in the body. With this kind of misuse of the system, that is also what leads to some chronic ailment later on. So following that kind of routine is also very, very important. So the vata balance, because of this overstimulation, it leads to anxiety, insomnia, dry skin, and digestive issues. Now, the issues that are listed here, they are mainly referring to the issues I have noticed here in Finland in my clients. There are much more issues, but just to keep it short. And what happens because of the pitta imbalance, because of the overworking or not working in the correct hours, and information overload? So it results in irritability, inflammation, like inflammatory disorders of the skin, IBS, and burnouts. And burnouts have become very, very common these days. And burnout is also a very recent kind of disease as compared to the other chronic diseases that we have had in the history. Burnout was diagnosed in 1970 by a doctor in New York. And why I'm talking about burnout here is because recently many people have turned into entrepreneurs, and becoming an entrepreneur also is very one of the important things that leads to being a burnout. So to avoid the burnout also, it's important that you live a pitta balanced life. Last but not the least is kapha imbalance, which is mostly because of sitting longer hours and being a couch potato, and excess comfort. And this leads to lethargy, weight gain, and lack of motivation. This is also in geographies like Finland, where the winter is very long and the physical activity is reduced because of the uh, bad weather outside. So that also leads to lack of motivation, or let's say procrastination, or not being able to do what we are deciding to do. So by balancing all of these, vata, pitta, and kapha, we can make a balance and try to avoid all these problems. The idea is just to know what is it that is going out of balance at the moment. Next slide, please. Yes. So now some practical tips for daily life. Foremost is the morning routine for balance. Having a good morning routine and starting your mornings nicely is one of the best tips I can give. First thing is wake up early. Well, they say before sunrise, but as you know, in Finland, the sunrise is very late. But 6 o'clock, 6:30, I think is a very good time for the body to wake up. As I was talking about the circadian rhythm earlier, that the liver does detoxification from 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. So after 2 a.m., this cycle of purification moves on to the next organ. And then morning 4 o'clock is the time for the lungs to detoxify. So morning 4 to 6, the lungs detoxify. And that is the time, as you know, that we should go out for morning walks. We should do pranayams. As you would have known, our families and parents and grandparents in India, they do the same, because morning early times is the time for detoxification of the lungs. And after that, after 6:30 is the time for the stomach. So have something healthy for breakfast. That is why we call it as a breakfast, because the body's been fasting for more than 12 hours or 12 hours or something. So breaking the fast in a right way, How do we break the fast? By drinking some hot water. Hot water is a very good thing, and that too in a copper cup. I'm having it right now. So drink 2 glasses of hot water in the morning when you wake up, because hot water has the capability to flush a lot of toxins out of the body. And drinking water in a copper vessel in the morning is very good for your blood, for your skin, and for your gut, because copper has these free ions which help in the blood circulation, in the purification of the blood. So that's the first thing you should do in the morning after waking up. After that, drinking 2 glasses of water, you can do your brush, morning routines, and then some mindfulness, some deep breathing, some practices of gratitude, or something that's kind of an affirmation to look forward to the day, because that really helps a long way. And after this, of course, you can drink some green teas or drink hot water with lemon or tulsi or ginger, depending which kind of herbs suit your style. Because as per your body type, there are also herbs that are made for you individually. And as we are talking about modern era, so yes, please avoid checking the phone or the screen immediately after getting up in the morning. That's why half an hour waking up before your routine, it's good. I know it's very difficult not to check the phone in the morning because everything comes through phone. You have your office, the calendar, the kids have their Wilma notifications. But that's why when you wake up half an hour before the routine, that gives enough buffer time to start your morning in a positive way. And in the morning times, you should also have a nice grounding breakfast, a light, warm breakfast, because I think having a good breakfast is very important for the body. So again, depending on the body type, Vata, Pitta, and Kapha, that can be decided. Or as a general rule, like the Finnish way, oats porridge is always good. And you can add the spices as per your convenience, cinnamon or cardamom, or some almonds or sesame seeds. So having a nice nourishing breakfast is very important, especially for the kids who are of the school going age. And as per the body types, Vata diet should be warm. It should have more of root vegetables, soups, homemade fresh foods, herbal teas, which are having ginger and cinnamon. Pitta people should have a cooling diet. So cooling and cold are two different things. Sometimes people confuse cold with cooling. So anything from the refrigerator is cold. Ayurveda does not recommend anything cold. We actually do not have refrigerator at all, the usage of refrigerator. So Ayurveda talks about cooling foods. Now, what is a cooling food? A cooling food is like a watermelon is cooling, cucumber is cooling, anything that comes in that particular season, like blueberries, strawberries, anything seasonal is cooling, coconut is cooling. So because when you have these things in the right season, they reduce the inflammation. Kapha balancing foods are the ones which are light to digest, which are like the smaller lentils, not the bigger ones like moong dal, the little red lentils, turmeric, and herbal infusions that help in increasing the digestion. Next slide, please. And after having the morning routine started and the food, which kind of mindfulness and movement can be done in the workplace? Because now you are, okay, even if you're working from home, what kind of postures are correct for you? Let's say that for the Vata types, it's like Uttanasana or Veerbhadrasana are nice. Anulom Vilom is very nice for all the body types, like breathing in and breathing out from alternate nostrils. For Pitta types, cooling poses like Viparita Karani, or legs up the wall, and then Brahmari, or Shitali, Shitakari, those kind of breathing practices also can be done if you're not able to do yoga. So just sit and do some basic breathing practices. For Kapha people, sun salutations, Surya Namaskar is highly encouraged. And for women, moon salutation, that is the Chandra Namaskar, because the women's body goes along with the lunar cycle. So sun salutations and the moon salutations are both recommended for the kapha types. And most importantly is the digital detox or the dopamine detox, reducing the screen time, uh, taking care that the eyes are not exposed to the blue light of the phones, especially before you're going to sleep, and having a calm evening before going to bed, turning off the internet, keeping the phone far away from you, and then going for a sleep. That really helps the body to recover from the technology induced stress, or kind of the electrified stress, because we now live in these electrified environments. Everything around us is a kind of electrified. The screens are flashing, something or the else is going on, and there is a lot of social media. And also to realize that we have to live the life in real, not in reels. So understanding the difference between the real life and the real life, and then making those affirmations and then going to bed, because that is also another secret to have a good detox every day. And reduce this habit of picking up the phone again and again, and checking, like regulate, self regulate and self check your yeah, you can go to the next one. Yeah, Nasya is very good, Abhyanga is good. Now Ayurveda with the for the modern day problems. Now, how do we deal with these electrifying environments is to shut down the system when we don't need it, to be out in the forests, in the nature, to make a connection with the nature. That is what is heals the system. That is what heals the body. Because when the system is connected to the nature, to the environment, I think that itself is a therapy, which we need, along with the various therapies that are practiced in Ayurveda. That is Panchakarma, how to de-stress, like the 5 basic therapies: Shirodhara, Virechana, Nasya, Vamana. So out of them also is this therapy when we have the understanding of our own body, and then what our body really looks forward to. And to understand our own individual constitution, consciousness, what influences or what triggers us, what kind of a situation is triggering what kind of reaction among us, that is also important to understand. Because yeah, I think humans are kind of blurring the distinction between the humans and the machines by the advancement of these artificial intelligence. But artificial intelligence is very great, but what it cannot achieve is the level of consciousness that we as human beings have. And we have also this kind of capacity of rational understanding, which AI doesn't have. So AI runs with statistics and LLMs, whereas human beings have this own inbuilt intelligence. So to trust in that, to be more compassionate, to be more kind of open to have these kind of skills which only human beings can have, like good communication, good reasoning, building good relationships. I think that is where the Ayurvedic intelligence is the way ahead of artificial intelligence. And although the amount of money invested in AI is huge in the years to come, but I would still suggest that please invest in your health, invest in your hobbies, and follow a good routine as per the season, as per the day, and stay away from stress and all those things that we don't need, because internet tries to convince us that we need everything. But I think being minimalistic and not aiming for everything also is a good way to lead life. I think with that I would be open to more questions. Yeah.
Bhavna, thank you so much for this insightful talk. For me,
Thank you.
being an Indian, I'm aware of Ayurveda, but never, never cared or never was responsible enough to learn more about it and the types. How do you categorize the types of body or the imbalances of body? So for me, it's a brilliant talk, and I have learned a lot about Ayurveda.
Thank you
And
so much.
personally, thank you so much for that. Yeah, I couldn't pick up the questions from the audience yet, but I have my own questions because this is
Sure,
such an
please go
interesting
ahead.
session
Yes.
for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I completely agree with you about the extremes that we are living in. One thing is Ayurveda being a very ancient system of medicine, and then the age that we are living in is AI dominated digital age. And the country or the geography that we are living in is another extreme for living conditions,
Yeah.
right? So, and you are also part of the same sort of
Setup.
triangularity setup.
Yeah.
Setup.
Yeah.
So, in your daily practice, how do you see this, and what kind of issues that your clients bring to you in this who are living in the same setup? Common ones are, and how do you advise them for it?
Yeah, that's a good question, Kritika. For me also it's the same. Like I also come from India and I moved to Finland. So that was also quite a transition, and how to adapt to this geography. That was a question. How to adapt to this kind of a setup where you don't have the same lifestyle that you get back home. So how I started was in the beginning, I came like 10 years, more than 10 years ago, and I didn't know how to cook. I had never done cooking, and I'm a vegetarian. So that was like the part one, how to start with it. And then what I was talking, I was also implementing when I was talking to somebody about Ayurveda: do this, do that, drink hot water, don't drink coffee. So telling somebody not to drink coffee, in the first place, I have to know how it is to live without coffee, you see. So
Mhm.
it's
True,
like doing and then like knowing, okay, this is how it is, because you cannot tell somebody right away that don't do this because it's bad for you. If it's bad for you, it's bad for me as well. So I have to
true.
stop doing those things. So in my daily practices, I have invested a lot of I would say love into cooking, into know how to cook, I would say, because that is, I think, one thing that takes a lot of effort from you here: how to eat and what to eat and how to eat seasonal and how to kind of nourish yourself, because most of the problems occur to you when you are not well nourished. And that is one of the main, I would say, problems that Finnish people come up with, because they have a lot of dietary issues. They don't know what to eat. They have a lot of issues with the young kids, because the kids just, the parents are working and kids just buy something ready made, some frozen foods and all of that. And as I mentioned in the talk, that cold foods, refrigerated
Mm,
foods are a complete no-no in Ayurveda. So once we consume those foods, we are inviting diseases. And those diseases, of course, they occurred earlier also, but now we also have this technology, which is adding up to the problems. So that is how we see a more of a traction in the problems that have increased in the kids at a very young age. And all those problems that maybe didn't exist, or maybe they existed at a very low numbers, but now the numbers have increased. I get I would say in the Finnish winter time, which is the Vata time, there is a lot of anxiety. There's an anxiety in the air. So everybody is kind of Vata imbalanced, including me. So, but for me, when I know that, okay, now I'm getting Vata imbalanced, I can balance myself
mm,
by drinking some herbal teas, by sipping in hot water, by doing some breathing exercises, and to take care of the stress. So, those kind of daily practices I do. And most importantly, after I had my kids, after I became a mother, my routine completely changed. So I have few practices which I do with my kids. every day. And
Okay.
I think that grounds us a lot, that keeps us healthy, that keeps us free from the seasonal flu, that keeps us, I would say we have been a very healthy family,
Mm.
because we follow all the basic principles of Ayurveda by eating right, sleeping right, and doing these morning routines. So
Very
drinking
nice.
hot water in the morning, doing prayers, being thankful in the mornings, and then having a good breakfast and lunch. And for my kids, I have made them a practice to sip hot water, which is a challenge for Finnish people. And also, a
Mm.
few of the Indian friends I know, they are like, no, our kids won't drink hot water, they
Mm.
just won't. So I think the earlier you start, the better it is, because hot
Okay.
water or warm water is very good. And then copper cups
Yeah.
again are very good. So eating in the right metals, eating in right times of the day, and sleeping in time, having a good evening routine is very important. And when possible, please do a massage, like a full body massage or a hair massage, because vata is a dryness, and the solution to vata is oils and ghee. So
Mm.
we use a lot of oil and ghee in our family, in the
Okay.
food, in the body, like in massage, in the hair, and otherwise. So that is what
Okay.
I learned here.
Thank you. I think it's quite sort of easy to, or is possible for many of us to follow the tips that you have given.
Right.
Actually, my next question was about kids, but you have already pointed them
No,
out.
please go ahead. Get.
No, I was planning to ask, is there any right age for practicing Ayurveda? But I think you have already answered it. Like you start early, the better.
Yeah, you start. I mean, you start as soon as you know you have conceived,
Yeah.
because the first 9 months of the conception, they are very,
Mm.
very critical in the development of a healthy baby.
Okay.
And once the mother knows, or the parents know that the conception has taken place, one should take utmost care of that, because we have a 9 months of development period, which is known as a Garbha Samskar.
Hmm.
And in that, it's told very clearly in Ayurveda what is happening in every month. So as
Okay.
per that, if you eat those herbs, eat those kind of foods and fruits, and there are certain regimens also, like talking to the baby, doing sound therapy, listening to shlokas,
Hmm.
because sound is a very subtle thing, and it's very
Mm.
universal also, so it goes
True.
around the globe. And sound helps a lot in the development of the nervous system of the child. So I think the as soon as the parents know that there is going to be a baby, please start following the Garbh Samskar and Ayurveda. And once the baby has come to the physical world, then of course it's everybody's responsibility. But since the 9 months of period is just between the mom and the kid, I would
Hmm.
say the onus lies on the mom,
Okay.
how to go ahead with those 9 months. And I think it's a fantastic journey. I have experienced it with my kids. I was
Mm.
talking to them all the time when I was carrying them during my pregnancies, and I could like make that connection long before the world saw those kids. And I've also done that to Finnish people, to all
Hmm.
my clients here who get pregnant. So it's really amazing. Ayurveda is an amazing science.
I think, incidentally, you have touched a very important topic, and I could ask my follow-up question on that. I completely agree with you during the importance of Ayurveda in during pregnancy. But how about a conception itself? Because nowadays in the modern world, for due to so many environmental factors, infertility is becoming a major issue. Are
Right.
there any sort of tips and guidance from Ayurveda that people can follow in order to kind of help them conceive in a healthy way?
Right. So people are, you were talking about conception. I know also like few
Mm.
friends of mine who are getting menopause in their 30s.
Mm.
So it's not just a question about conception. The problem is even more bigger, because with the kind of lifestyle that we are following, with the amount of stress that is induced in day-to-day lives, humans are losing a touch with the reality. We have this kind of a sense of a common sense. We have this kind of a voice, very little voice, that comes from inside us, which is always telling, especially I think women have this very strong sense of intuition, you can say,
Intuition. Mm.
that the body is trying to tell you something. But as I mentioned in the very beginning, pragna parada is doing something wrong intentionally. The body
Mhm.
is trying to tell you this is not correct, but you do it. The body is trying to tell you, I don't want to eat in this restaurant, for example, I don't like this place, but your friends are eating there, and they're
Mhm.
eating the kind of food you don't want to eat. But still, in social pressure or in peer pressure, whatever, we go ahead to please others, and then we displease ourselves. So the first rule is listening to your own body. Once we listen to our own body and we start following this lifestyle, the circadian rhythm, waking up in the right time, having your lunch in the right time, having your dinner 3 hours or 2 hours before you go to bed, and then be in the bed by 10 o'clock. You see this. I mean, if you do that,
Mm.
the juices within the body start to flow. And these juices are nothing else but your hormones, your digestive juices, the life
Mm.
force, the subtle life
Mm.
energy starts to flow. And then, if let's say, even if there is a medical problem, there are herbs that are designed to achieve the desired results, and we have worked on that, and we have seen results also in Finland with Finnish women. They have conceived even in their 40s, late 40s.
Okay.
So yeah, I think it's workable with Ayurveda, but for details I think you need to see a Ayurvedic
Of
doctor.
course. I mean, we could recommend them to see you.
Yeah, sure, thank you.
Yeah, yeah. Thanks so much. And I do have a couple more questions, but I would like to check with my colleague Madhu here, if there are any questions from the audience, or Madhu herself might have some questions. Madhu,
Okay. Yeah.
can you
Hi.
jump in? Yeah.
Yes, definitely. Thank you, Bhavna, for this insightful session. While I think we have touched upon a lot of important things already, but I just, wanted to ask, just for my own understanding and for the audience. So you talked about the different types of Vata, Pitta, Kapha body types, but is it possible to have like two kind of a mixtures in sometimes? Because I guess while I was, going through your slides, I just had like sometimes I get all three of them. So is it possible, to have multiple variations, or how does it go? Please help us
That's a
understand.
beautiful question, Madhu. Yeah, I think I missed it in the beginning because I was following the time constraints. But that's a very good question. Yes, Vata, Pitta, and Kapha, as I said, they are like the legs of a table. And based on that, we classify which body type you are. But then there's always like a permutation and a combination. You can be a Vata, Pitta, Pitta, Vata, Kapha, Vata, and all three of them. When we are born as a baby, we have all three of them. So we all have Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. So if I say that okay, I'm a pitta vata, that doesn't mean that I don't have kapha at all. Of course I have kapha as well, because like an electron, proton, and neutron, if you take out a neutron with proton and electron, the cell won't exist. It's the same with our body. So we have all of those, but depending on which stage of life you are, what is the dominant one in you at the moment. And actually, I will say that also doesn't make a difference, which body type you are. The goal or the aim should be that you are balanced, to know. It is good to know what is out of balance, and then you balance that thing. As I said, in the winters, there's a lot of vata, and we are out of balance of vata. So try to ground yourself by grounding the vata. So to know what is out of balance. And of course, it's nice to know your body type also, but it changes with season, it changes with the geography, it changes with age, and so many factors. For example, if I assume you are in your 30s at the moment, Madhu, sorry,
Yes.
I said it.
Yes.
So,
No, no, yes. Absolutely
so
fine.
once you will hit your 60s, for anybody hitting their 60s, they're entering into this vata stage. So that is when the dominance of the vata will take place. But till the late 50s, we all are dominated by the pitta type. But
Okay.
for the women, it's a little different because we are different every 28 days. With every cycle, we are different. So keeping in mind what the body is losing and how to nourish yourself, not just the body but also the mind and the soul, like as a whole. I think beauty of it, like how to take care of yourself as a whole individual, not like just the physical component.
No, I think that's interesting because, like, when I was reading, I was like, sometimes you are, in a one phase and sometimes you're a combination. So it's good
Yeah.
to know. Thank you
Yeah, yeah.
that,
Overall,
we
there are
all
12.
are.
Yeah,
Yeah.
overall, there are 12 combinations that are mentioned in the Ayurvedic texts.
Okay.
So there are these 12 kind of prakrutis that are mentioned. But when I was teaching at the institute, sometimes my students, Finnish people, they came up to me and they said, "Hey, which type are you, Bhavna? We want to know. Are you a pitta? No, no, you must be a vata." And I'm like, I don't know.
Mm.
And I don't want to know which type I am, because my aim is to stay balanced and to know what is kind of out of balance.
Mm.
I have one more quick question if we have
Sure.
time.
Sure.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Since we, we have touched upon that we have come from different background, it's a different change of routine and dietary and, weather changes for us. So I just, for personal reasons also, just for, everybody's information, like, are there, when we come from India, there are different kinds of fruits and vegetables that are available, which are not here, which are important for our body to balance out. Do you recommend what are the, maybe local fruits that are available here in Nordics that helps us keep this balance? I know you mentioned about lingo berries. So are there more, such fruits and vegetables that you think that we can involve as a mother, I should help my kids to, get in their diets that can actually help them?
Yeah, that's a very good question, Madhu. So Ayurveda says that whenever you change your geography, you use the food that is in that geography. Now, we come from India and Ayurveda comes from India. Now, this doesn't mean that, we always go to the Indian store and get the things from there. No. What it means is that you eat the lahirvoka, the food that is grown in your local vicinities. Whatever you need in this geography is present here. So in the summers, you have amazing berries, you have potatoes, you have vegetables, whatever grows in summer, please use it. You have amazing mushrooms in the autumn, please use them. Although Ayurveda doesn't encourage the use of mushrooms because they think they are tamasic, because they don't do photosynthesis. But I do this mushroom foraging in the autumn, and I think the Finnish environment, the Finnish nature is full of nutrients. So whenever there is a seasonal thing and a local thing, please use it. Do not use the frozen things, be it anything, because as per Ayurveda, when we freeze something, the prana is gone. And we emphasize a lot on the prana of the food. So in the winters, because nothing much fresh grows here, so of course you're welcome to take the green veggies or the ground vegetables, beetroots and carrots and everything underground, and use them. But whatever is seasonal and is local, you can always go ahead with that. And if you are a meat eater or fish eater, so I think the use of fish is also highly recommended in the Nordics, because the quality of fish that you get here is very good. You don't get that quality of fish in India and also in many other countries. So please, if your kids like eating fish, you can give salmon or kuha to them. They are good fishes. And in meat also, I would say that turkey is a good meat as compared to chicken, also as per Ayurveda for this geography. So that these are kind of, as a parent, you have this perspective of looking at foods. But most important is a takeaway for all the parents, and not just parents, but also grown-ups, is the use of ghee. You are a vegan or whatever, ghee is for everyone, and ghee is the gold of Ayurveda. So when we talk about kids in Ayurveda, it's about ghee, and as the kids go, it's like more and more ghee. So please give ghee to your kids and also to yourself, because there are a lot of myths and wrong information about ghee. But it's the best thing what Ayurveda has to offer in the Nordics, because our body needs, it's a very good fat that is needed in this geography, regardless if you are a vegetarian or a non-vegetarian. Please give ghee to your kids and also to yourself. And if you have also little kids at home, like more than 1 year, you can start the use of honey, because Finland has very good quality of honey.
Mm.
So honey is also something that helps in boosting the immunity. It's very good for memory. And honey is something whose pH and many other chemical properties are very similar to the blood, to the human blood when you look under the microscope. So honey is the best thing that also you can give to the child. We use honey and ghee a lot, and that is what I would advise to all the girls, all the moms who are listening to us at the moment. I hope I answered your question.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. These are the two main questions I have in mind. Kit,
Yeah.
please go ahead.
Yeah, thanks, Madhu. I'm really sorry for extending the session, but I do have a couple more questions because the
Sure,
content was
sure.
so interesting. So I think we
Anytime.
must
Yeah.
catch Bhavna when she's here with us. Sorry about that. Yeah, well, we were talking about AI and the apps dominated world, but I think we can't also live without them.
Right.
If we want to integrate an ancient lifestyle-based medical system into our lives now, and especially in a country which is so digitalized like Finland.
Oh, yeah.
So, are there any apps that you have seen like good for a beginner to use on Ayurveda?
Well, to say about apps, I know that people mainly use the apps for falling asleep because there is so much going on in the day.
Okay.
So people come up with, okay, I can't sleep. So there are apps like Yoga Nidra.
Okay.
When people just because they also have these watches which track their heart rate and the
Mm-hmm.
kind of activities they are doing in the day. So those kind of apps which help people about their physical activity, how active they have been. And I have not followed the Ayurvedic apps so
Mm-hmm.
much,
Okay.
but I'm quite sure there is much more digitalization done in the Ayurvedic apps. But I think the best would be that if you need an Ayurvedic advice, please see the nearest practitioner
Mm-hmm.
and get advice on that. Yes, but for sleeps and for doing yoga, there are certain apps. So
Okay.
those you can follow because now with the kind of economy and the job scenarios, people don't really want to do physical yoga classes. So people are doing a lot of things on YouTube
Mm.
and following these apps. So
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. One more question. We know that India and other countries are now like they're predominant with many diseases. And to pick a few, diabetes mellitus, hypercholesterol, and cancer catching up all over the world. Have you, I mean, based on your experience and knowledge about Ayurveda, has Ayurveda spoken about these kind of diseases and has recommended any sort of counterbalance or how to balance these kind of disease or people with these kind of diseases?
right.
Some sort of how do I put it, integrative approaches from Ayurveda.
Right. So that's also a very good question, Kit. As you know, Finland has the I think the highest rate of diabetes in the world, especially among the kids. So I think the answer is the processed foods that are
Mm-hmm.
being used. So to avoid anything that is processed, anything like be it refined sugar, vehna yauho, go as basic as you can. Start from the scratch. Start making your food from the scratch. Of course, it's time consuming, but then you know that you're not putting those because you do get a very good assortment in the supermarket. They have
Mm,
e-codes and they have a lot of like it looks healthy and it's very flashy and everything, but anything that is processed, it does have that element of processed
mm,
thing. So avoid that. And diabetes is mentioned in Ayurveda, like if you have a pot, and it's leaking from one place, you can like heal it from one place. But for an Ayurvedic perspective, diabetes is like a pot which has holes all over, so it's like having a lot of problems.
mm,
So diabetes is not a disease, it's like an accumulation of many many problems going on over a long time. The solution is to correct the lifestyle.
mm.
It's not just something related to glucose. No, it's your overall system that
Lifestyle.
has been messed up. So to follow those regimes, And we also believe in nutrition in terms of rasas. We don't believe in nutrition as per the carbohydrates, proteins, and fats. So when Ayurveda talks about food or nutrition, we talk about rasas, 6 rasas. And for every disease or every rasa or every problem, there is an opposite that kind of counterbalances it. For example, for a madhura rasa or for a sweet rasa, the opposite is bitter. So whenever you are suffering from, let's say, diabetes, you are cured with bitter gourd because that particular rasa is missing in your diet. So now when you go to the supermarket here, for example, or any Western country supermarket, what you see is mainly just 2 rasas. You will see salty products and sweet products, and that's it. So the remaining 4 rasas are missing. And when there is excess of any one rasa, that leads to problems. So the idea is to balance by including the remaining rasas, like to have more of this lime, the sourness, astringentness, bitterness. So when you combine these rasas, you can make a chutney, like we have very nice concept of chutney. All our spices have rasas. So when we make the combination of spices in our food, I think that's what takes care of things. And that's why, as you know, that chronic problems like cancer and Alzheimer's and a couple of those you mentioned, like India, although we are the biggest population, but still we have a very low count of Alzheimer's in the whole world, whereas Finland is a very small geography and they're very high count on Alzheimer's and Parkinson's and so on. So, and there was a research done on it. I know you will find it very interesting, but it's the research says that because Indians, we use turmeric, and because of turmeric, we don't get Parkinson's, but we as Indians don't know it. We just consume it, but here in this world. So turmeric is a very good spice that everybody should use. And there is a right way to use turmeric. So if it's used in the right way, I think it has quite a nice combination of the rasas. Garlic has the 5 rasas. So using garlic in the right way also can prevent a lot of problems.
Very, very interesting information. I think things that we take for granted, they have such meaningful purposes, isn't it?
Right.
In our life. Yeah. Now I'm looking at the time and I have to look at Madhu. Madhu, do you have any more questions?
Oh, no, not
Okay.
from my side.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So, Bhavna, thank you so much. And we know that Ayurveda is the science of life, isn't it?
It is.
And I read that it is one of the oldest systems of complex medicine which spoke about lifestyle,
Yeah.
principles of lifestyle. I can't even comprehend that fact that how could a medicinal system or an alternative medicine could have spoken about lifestyle. Is it in the first millennium BC when
Right.
first principle of Ayurveda was kind of known to the world,
Right.
and now on a minute basis we are talking about lifestyle and lifestyle changes, and there are coaches for lifestyle, isn't it? So I think there's a lot of wisdom in Ayurveda, and thank you for sharing at least some of them to us in this very, very limited time frame. We have learned a lot, and Madhu, I'm
Thank
sure,
you.
both of us at least. And we could
Yes,
ask you a lot of
definitely.
questions, but I think we
Yeah.
need to have a different session. For example, how to assess ourselves and what kind of pitta or kapha or vata type we are, and
Right.
how to really go into micro details of integrating this Ayurveda in our lives. But
Right.
let's think about one more session for that. But thank you so much
Sure.
for this very
Anytime. Yes.
insightful session. Yeah.
Yes. Thank you so
Thank you,
much,
Bhavna.
Kit, for having this session. It was very nice to see you all. And I have a practice here in Helsinki. I have my own clinic. So if anybody is interested, you can share the details. It's in Hakaniemi in the city center where
Okay.
I'm practicing. So if
The name of
anybody
the
is in,
clinic, you can just tell the name and the street name of the place where
yes,
it is
the
located.
name is Hoitola Kiran, and it's in
Okay.
Kristin in Katu too. It's very near to the Kallio swimming hall.
Okay.
So
Okay.
it's there, yeah, in the city. So if you all are interested, you're welcome. And my Instagram is Hima Holistic. Hima comes from Himachal. That's where I come from. And Hima in Finnish means home.
Okay.
So, and then that's why that's the name of the place. Yeah. And there will be a yoga festival this weekend on the 1st and 2nd of March, where
Okay.
we will be representing the Swami Ayurveda Hudistus. So you all are also welcome to visit the healthy stalls and know much more about these healthy activities in Finland. It will be
Okay.
in Kapeli Tehdas near Ruoholahti.
Okay. Good to know that. Good
Yeah.
to know that. Yeah. Yeah. But thank you so
Definitely.
much from
Yes, thank you so
our
much.
behalf. Yes. Bye
Thank
bye.
you. Thank you. Bye. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.